everybody, it's Helen Hillocks, licensed therapist, intuitive counselor, and your host for From My Heart to Yours podcast and YouTube channel. And today I have the inimitable pleasure of having Dr. Renee Mudrey. She is a wonderful speaker, so engaging, so warm. She's on Instagram all the time, sharing her wisdom and her love and her insights. And she is also an author, a podcast host, a counselor for 13 years. She's a PhD educational psychologist. She's worked with hundreds of clients, and she also has her own background in very challenging things like overcoming melanoma that have prepared her in a unique way to be a vision of light and hope during this time of this worldwide pandemic and all of the panic that's going around. And that's what I'd like to talk to her about today. She is, her focus is, quote unquote, the inner revolution. That's her brand, is the inner revolution. And boy, if there's ever been a time when we need an inner revolution, it's right now. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I hope you'll stay tuned. And I want to welcome you so warmly, Dr. Renee. Thank you so much for being with us. And I know our audience is going to just love you and what you have to say. And I know they'll feel better at the end of this interview.
Well, thank you for having me so much. And this week has been quite an interesting week, to say the least. And I will do my best. I've been doing so many interviews in this time of crisis that my voice is starting to go. But I will, keep it in there as much as I can. But thank you for having me.
So let's just start out with, what is an inner revolution?
And I know you have quite a bit of experience as well. And this is our connecting fiber, isn't it, in the collective? And years ago, when I started this platform, and I was thinking about what am I about? What is it that I can give to the world? I can gift to the world. And I recognize that in all of our self-awareness, our self-development, our personal achievements and growth, and in particular, what we're all seeking, which is moksha, right? Liberation, enlightenment, to get to somewhere that had to root and start somewhere, though. So we tend to have this infatuation of needing to get somewhere, right? We're so infatuated with the outcome and where will that lead and what will I look like when I lose that weight and those kinds of things. And versus the actual playground in which it has to occur, right? In the battlefield, in a way. And the inner revolution, even though it's far more gentle for me personally, was a softer revolution, one that takes place on the inside, a gentle going back to the inner child, healing the generational wounds, really going in and building and cultivating self-love unlike we've ever been able to do, and growing that almost like a beautiful internal garden, eventually leading to my other area of my business, which is called the inner evolution. And so we have to have a revolution first within, deep within ourselves, to really let go and become all that we are not, to be able to face what we truly are and wish to be. And then we can evolve, and then we can move into the next spiritual plane. So, and it all came out of a lot of pain, a lot of personal torture and conflict, and a lot of other things, as you know, and has led me here today. I will say this, that if this pandemic had happened even 12 years ago, I wouldn't be sitting here in this way. And so it really is important that we recognize this work is really purposeful to get us to a place of calm and comfort, and a recognition that, we're going somewhere. We all are.
Well, gee, you said so many things right there. I hope my senior mind will capture a few of those things, because I thought, got to talk about that. No, talk about that. First thing I want to talk about is, you said that it's a soft, gentle revolution. Sometimes maybe, but I don't know about you, but my inner revolution has not been soft and gentle. I mean, I've been kicking and screaming the majority of the time. No, I don't want to give that up. I don't want to face that. I don't want to feel that. And you said, later you talked about, you've been through your own torture, inner torture. So, I think sometimes it can be gentle. Sometimes it can be quite violent, thus the revolution part of it. right?
Yeah. Well, and it's all very cyclical, right? So the cycle, just as anything, just as this pandemic is as well, everything is relatively predictable, right? In many ways. And some outcomes aren't, but we do know that everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And in the inner revolution, often that conflict, that high feeling of resistance, the pain and the suffering as it continues, is usually more on the beginning into the middle phase, right?
Yeah.
And once we get into the middle, that's when we surrender. That's when we get to that place of going, I don't want to beat myself up anymore because it hurts, right? And I don't have to always be in a dark night of a soul to have a shedding moment and elevate. We learn through this process, but I think everybody usually goes into that torture, pain, conflict, because it is something that we don't quite know how to do. I mean, how many of us had parents who really could even talk to us about this? And I look at my kids today and I say how grateful I am that I have these tools now to be able to parent purposefully and spiritually to them, because it is going to help them down the road. So yeah, I agree. Everything, there's a level of pain, there's a level of suffering, there's a level of needing to let go. But once you surrender and you get there, it does become far more gentle.
Oh, absolutely. Life becomes far more gentle.
It
Even
does.
a pandemic is far more gentle than it was than it would be if you didn't have gone through it. I can't even talk this morning. If you hadn't gone through the process of inner revolution and all of those, I mean, I feel like there is a clarification happening on the planet between, the spiritual, emotional leaders and the rest of humanity that is just struggling and grappling and getting in line for guns and ammunition and, stockading and barricading. And it's unbelievable, the fear energy right now. And then those of us who have done the work are, let's make this an opportunity. Let's work on our relationship with our partner if we have one. Work on our relationship with ourselves. Let's work on our relationship with the divine.
Amen.
The other thought I had, and I want your comments on this, is that I hope at the other side of this pandemic that things we value will have shifted.
Yes.
So many people have looked at me and said, whether they said this directly or just thought it, why have you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on inner work and training and, spiritual development and all of that? And it's like, now I can say, this is why.
This is why. Yes. Oh my God. I've loved you so much, but now I really love you for saying that, because it is so crucial in recognizing that those of us who have done the inner work, those who have already revolted and are awake, see the truth before us. We knew 2020 was the year of perfect vision, but we didn't know what that meant going into it, did we? None of us really saw this. And, I remember saying last year, I said, 2020 is going to be an interesting year. It's going to be one, and I couldn't foresee why. I said, even in many lives, and I've got this documented, thank God, so people know this is truthful. I said that we are going to see a turn of political leadership in 2020 in a way that we had never seen. And spiritual individuals, maybe not political people, but spiritual leaders were going to elevate and take us to a different place. And I think this is that moment. This is where those of us who have done the work, no matter how small we think these videos, our lives, our sessions with our clients are, they're powerful, right? Because they aid the collective. And what I still have a little bit of leery sensation about is many people who are just awakening or even aren't even quite awakened. I think the world's shaking everybody awake in this moment, but that are just waking up, who don't quite understand what's happening, but are reaching and wanting to be on this side. They don't want to be in the fear mongering. They don't want to be stockpiling. They want to be in a place that, damn it, if anything does happen, I want to go somewhere better, in my life. And what does that mean? That they're reaching and they're wanting it to be part of their life. But I fear that when we get on the other side of this, will they just run back to what they were? Will they just run back to how they were before, and, you know, working too much and lacking connection with their family, and, you know, killing their bodies on a cellular level from all the bad habits? And I have faith, though. Everybody knows me. I have the most faith in humanity. There's nothing you can ever convince me that people are evil. I just don't believe it. And, you know, I think most will, but there's going to be some who will go back. But if we hold up this space right now, I think we'll see something really beautiful on the other side.
I agree. And I am, my friend Beth Green and I always say that we're needlessly optimistic.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
When there's no evidence to support it, we're optimistic. And, you know, that doesn't mean that I'm naive. You know, I'm not one of those people that says, oh, don't worry about it. You know, nobody you love's going to die. You're going to be fine. I don't believe that unless you're fine with dying, which if you have enough spiritual development, you are. Okay,
you are.
dying. You know, it's like they're just on to the next phase. And,
exactly.
You know,
I had a friend who said the other day, pardon my interruption, I was going to say, a friend of mine said the other day, in this place and time, those who are happy may die, you know, but they're going to die happy. And those who are content and blissful, yes, they may die, but they're going to die content and blissful. You still get a choice, even in death, how you wish to exit this time-space reality. And so I think that a lot of us are beginning to face our mortality, really, you know, more so than we ever did. And the closer we can get to bringing those back into oneness, because they are the same, the less heavy it feels, even when we don't know what's going to happen. And it's a bit more peaceful.
I love what you're saying. I want to follow up on the focus on not knowing. You know, what's really happening is that this pandemic is challenging us spiritually so deeply. And in a way, it's not really a challenge to the spiritual part of us. It's a challenge to the ego. You know, the ego that is attached, the ego that wants to control, the ego whose main purpose is to protect our survival.
Right.
You know, that's where the challenge really lies. And is our world going to continue to be dominated by the ego, by greed and competition and separation energy and the hierarchical energy? You know, is that going to continue to rule the world? Because it is. It has been. Or are we going to have an inner revolution and an inner evolution, as you say?
Well, I think we all know that everything is in our hands to a certain point. And just as much as I've been self-isolating for 7 days now, some people are only on day 1. And it's one of those things that, you know, those who ran out and ransacked the paper towels and the toilet paper and that, they were on top of each other in crucial moments, infecting one another. Versus, you know, if I do this work now and I sacrifice a little bit of unknowing, and living without as much paper, you know, products as maybe somebody else. I've spent too much time in India. We didn't even need that stuff. And, right. You know, we can survive without toilet paper.
Like, are you kidding? You're going to risk your life to wipe your butt with some paper?
Exactly. My time was spent buying flour because I knew I would need to bake. Buying, from Amazon, buying games for my children so we could connect and spend time together, art supplies, things like that, making sure the pets would have enough, that kind of stuff. I mean, that was really all I did. And I think it came down to, yes, the ego deep inside is always talking to me. Oh my God, look at those numbers. Oh my God, you need to do more, and it's like, I finally can just say, shush, it's okay. And it's like this reorganization, right, of the inner being that gets to sort of elevate above the ego and the inner child. And it says, it's okay. It's almost like we're moving into this parenting space right now, no matter how old we are or whether we have children or not. It's like our new paradigm shift is allowing us to see that this is really a nurturing model. This is Mother Earth finally saying to us, this is how I've always taken care of you. Now you do the same for yourself and everyone else. And then we'll be in complete alignment. And will some people reject that? Of course. We can't deny Darwin, right? I mean, it is survival of the fittest in a way. But I would love if Darwin was still alive today. I've been thinking a lot about him and FDR recently, because they were just two people that I admire greatly for different reasons. And, you know, with Darwin, I think he would just probably be far more on the enlightened track and say, oh, it's about the survival of the fittest in a spiritual way. Those who can get it, those who can reject the fear and can actually see the beauty of what's coming and embrace it, are the ones who are actually going to probably make it. You know, might there be people who are going to die? Of course. But that's probably what we're looking at here, you know. And the other thing, and I know, you know, because I was a social studies teacher for many, many years, so particularly U.S. history, FDR and his approach in the presidency during a crisis, right? And we're talking about when we were being bombed overseas and we were losing soldiers. You know, we had no idea what was going to happen in that world. And he would sit at that radio and just talk a place of inspiration, honest dialogue, you know, and that's how we get through something like this. I mean, that was the inner revolution before we even knew what it was, right? And he had gone through his own physical, torturous, you know, thing that prepared him for that moment too. That really isn't before us right now, unfortunately, in our leadership. But I think that those people who are going to elevate out of this are going to take us there.
I don't want to go off on a side note, so I'm not going to comment on the on that element. But you know, the thing that I always admired about FDR is the sense of we're in this together. You know, and we as the government are going to do absolutely everything we possibly can to make life, you know, bearable for you, you know, during this challenge. So, you know, again, I don't want to get sidetracked by that.
Yes.
You know, the idea that our immune systems are incredibly reactive to stress. I think I wanted to underscore that point, as you were saying that you believe if Darwin were here today, you know, he would be saying, you know, those of you who are spiritually evolved are going to have a better chance. And I think that's why, is because we are able to calm our systems and nourish ourselves with, you know, meditation and mindfulness and, you know, whatever it takes. You know, I'm so grateful to, you know, my house backs up to a nature preserve. And, you know, I just can walk out my door and walk back in among the avocado groves for hours. And I'm so grateful for that. But wherever you live, you know, you can go outside, you know, you can go outside. And, you know, they've opened all the national parks are free so that you can just walk in and, you know, it's like we get to nurture our souls and our bodies right now, you know, and I keep seeing that every day in the news. Get outside, go for a walk, you know, and my husband and I have been sequestered too. He had heart surgery on Monday, you know, an angioplasty, which was a miraculous thing. It opened me also to the idea that even during this time of pandemic, you know, ordinary everyday miracles are happening too that have nothing to do with the pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're missing out on so much. You know, how many miracles are happening every day? My friend who is on the front lines as an OBGYN doctor, you know, she cannot not go to work. Babies don't stop in a pandemic, right?
Exactly.
They keep coming. And she's doing these most inspirational videos of, you know, yes, be safe, be smart, but, you know, you still have to connect as human beings in some way for our social and emotional being. And, you know, the other thing that I'm thinking about too is, you know, those people who are overcoming cancer and are overcoming all sorts of things right now, we're just not even talking about them because, one, we're so concerned something will happen to them. And then what ends up happening in that mindset, as you know more than anyone, is we start calling in energy that doesn't need to be near us. And so I've been really cautious about that this week, that anytime I start to go into the fear, anytime I start to go over there, I remind myself that there is another place that I can go to, and that's a safer place deep within. And through the meditation, as you mentioned, I've been called, that's a lot of the interviews I've been doing has just been asked to come in and lead meditations, lead prayer sessions, talk about breathing and de-stressing. And this morning I actually did one where I was just teaching them, how to breathe without your nose. People were like, why would I do that? And I was like, because anxiety warms your body. Anxiety keeps the temperature higher, right? It's your hands and your feet feel cold because your core has warmed. And it's so important in a time like this of stress that we keep that core down. We keep it more cooler and balanced so that if we do get sick, as some of us will, our bodies are already beautifully designed to fight many things, such as this disease, this virus. And as long as we don't have it overheating and being overreactive already, that when something does come, the body knows what to do. And this is how I got through my melanoma, because I didn't do any traditional treatments and therapies other than my surgery to remove, the cancer from my skin. But I had also found tumors in my kidney afterward, and I did not want to do surgery. I didn't want to do anything like that at that moment. I was already too weak from the surgery before. And I said, whatever is to be is going to be in this moment. And I went in and started honoring my body every night, talking to my body inside my mind, inside my heart. I would visualize, my kidney function and watching it thrive and be healthy. And, yes, I still believe in traditional medicine. Of course I do. But I think that right now, even in a time like this, before we go to bed, we can talk to our bodies. We can honor it and say, I know you know what you're doing. I have faith in you. I honor you, legs, for holding me up for 48 years. I honor you, heart, for having, fought off every negative experience I've ever had in my life and reminded me that love is still important. My kidneys, thank you for filtering my body. My waste system, thank you for purifying. I do that. I still do that. My kids thought I was crazy when I was, when they were little. They're like, who is she talking to? But that's the stuff. That's the stuff that elevates us and keeps us up here, so that when we do get sick, as we probably all will either see this year or next year or some form of something else,
right,
most of us will be okay. And for those who won't, again, we'll be able to recognize the life cycle and be appreciative of that, and stop ignoring that babies are still being born and beautiful things are also happening on the other side.
It really challenges us. It's interesting. I have clients, who have lots of money, and, everybody, there's a whole contingent of our society that it's like fake fingernails and Botox treatments every week, and eyelash extensions and hair dye, and whatever it is. And I love this Facebook post the other day that said, we're going to see in 3 weeks, we're going to see what color everybody's hair is.
Yeah, exactly. The nails half hanging off, eyelashes falling apart. But it's really, I love that you mentioned this, because I was thinking about that myself, because I am, a natural redhead actually. And people actually,
really?
Why did you? Yes.
Me
why
too.
Did you?
Another thing we have in common, but mine isn't red anymore. But you can see that it used to be, maybe.
And I'm already halfway through roots at this point. And my sister owns a hair salon, but of course they were forced shut just yesterday.
Right.
I didn't panic. I thought to myself, I've got options here. Here's one. When I had babies, I didn't color my hair because I was afraid. I didn't know what the chemicals would do. And I know most of them don't do anything today from research, but I still just didn't know. And I remember just letting my hair be, and how comforting and empowering that was to not be consumed with one thing that I always was concerned with every day. How much money have we all saved just in the last week? I haven't eaten out. But I do. I'm going to support my small businesses in other ways. We can buy coupons for later, gift certificates. We can buy services and have them store them for us for later, right? Or we can do drive-through if it's safe for you guys to do that. So there's a lot of things, but there's so much benefit to all of this. Like my skin looks better already in 7 days. My hair feels healthier because I'm not fussing with it every day. I'm not going anywhere except for the interviews. I just feel lighter and comfortable and content. My kids aren't even nervous. And I said to my daughter, is everything okay? Are you feeling okay? You know what she said to me? She said, yeah, I'm worried that my grades are going to slip. And I said, you're not worried about the world? She says, no, I know the world can take care of herself. But my grade with no teacher, I'm a little more concerned with that. And I thought, what a beautiful, honest expression of having faith in the grander world versus people, right? Like kids know it. Kids understand it.
Well, and I think what she can do as opposed to what she has no control over.
Yeah. Yeah.
She can work on her own grades, but she cannot do anything except be positive, to help.
And have faith.
I'd like you to talk about that for a minute, Renee, about the energetic impact of holding and radiating positive energy, or just energy, just pure life force energy. Can you talk about that at a time like this?
Oh, yeah. And thank you for bringing that up, because I mentioned this in my live the other day. I had almost forgotten. We were so fixated on, calming down and relaxing. We had to go through the process. And I think now that many of us are a week or so into this space, that we're starting to recognize that we feel a little depleted, right? We feel a little bit tired now because we were in that fight or flight or that preparation mode, and now we're feeling heavy. And that is because we let all of our energy just go out, right? I mean, we let it go. Right. And I said to my tribe, and I know you're part of my tribe, I said, I want you to promise me something. Promise me that your energy is sacred right now, because this is what will get us to wherever we need to go. This is the greatest lesson of realizing how much we deplete ourselves, how much we let others deplete us, how when we want to be healers and we do want to step up right now, that half of us feel half full. And it's because it's not a negative thing to just push to the side those people, that exposure, whether it's media, whether it's people you've been letting follow you or you follow that you've not felt good about since the beginning. Now you easily can just go click, 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 unfollow. I begged my followers, I said, please go and clear out your social media now. Get rid of anything that makes you feel less than bright and, healthy and vibrant. You can reconnect with those sources later if you so desire, but you don't need them right now. And more importantly, do the work to remember that in a time like this, we have to hold a certain amount for ourselves to be able to emanate elsewhere. And so I do every night before I go to bed, I do energy retrieval. And, I've done many online where I just call my energy back in prayer as well as meditation or guided, work. I just call that energy back every night. I thank it. I bless the ways and the paths in which it's gone to. It doesn't take it away from the sources that, were given it. It just allows for the piece that was mine to come back to me. And then tomorrow I can pick up again and do this, because now we're in such a space that we have to recognize life is about starting over every day when we wake up. And even though skills are easier to transfer day in and day out, every one of us has to wake up and start anew. It doesn't just, all of a sudden I feel great, I'm going to be great the rest of my life. Oh no. And so especially right now, holding that energy, really honoring it, keeping it deep within your cell level, allowing it to heal. Then you've got this beautiful, beautiful ray that you put out. A lot of people always say to me, you always look like you have this light around you. That's why I bought this for my backdrop, because I thought it was so indicative of what people were saying. What do you do? I don't think I do anything other than that. It's about being pure, authentic, and recognizing your connection to your divinity. And the rest takes care of itself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always think of the energetic flow as it's just constantly coming in through me, that I don't need to hold any of it, because it's it's everywhere all the time. It's constantly flowing through me. And that's its purpose, is to flow through me, flow through me all the time, flowing through me, cleansing me, just like you were saying about all the body parts. One of the things I want to mention before I forget about it, you said a few principles ago about how important it is to continue to connect, because we need that human connection. And, it's surprising to me how many people have not taken advantage of FaceTime or Google Video or Zoom or all of the video conferencing opportunities. And I want to just take this moment to remind my audience that please do that with your loved ones. It's like my daughter lives less than an hour away from here, but I'm not going to be able to see her for months probably. Yeah. And, she's self-quarantining also, because even though she's 31, she has asthma and, is therefore very vulnerable. So, but every day we FaceTime, every day we sit there and talk for 30 minutes, just about what are you doing and what how are you feeling and what's coming up and how's your fiance, and we just have like we're visiting in person. And it's so important right now and especially if you have people who older people who have a computer, guide them how to set up Zoom. It's free.
Yes.
You can do 30-minute calls free, and it's so much closer to being there than a phone call.
Yeah. So it's such a great thing that you bring that up. My mom was one who never wanted a smartphone, and, and she still had the flip phone, and it was really comical. And my mom is 77. So obviously very susceptible in this population, previous heart condition, all sorts of things. So yes, I'm insisting she's not going anywhere. I'm not traveling, even though she's only a half hour away. I'm not going to go up there, because I don't want to put her at risk for anything yet, and my kids were in school, as of up to last Friday. So I said, well, until I get to that 7-10 day mark, am I going to feel any confident even in that? So it is important. And so what I did is I found an old phone that I had that still connects to Wi-Fi, which she has at her house. And I took it apart and I sanitized everything and I put it in an envelope and I mailed it off to her. And I said, this is what I want you to use. We'll talk about how to do that. So, there's how many of us have old iPhones, old Androids that, are just taking up space in our drawers, that a lot of our senior community or even, those who are disadvantaged and things like that to being able to get technology can use right now. And, those things are really easy to clean and to get into others' hands and to be able to be a great source of support. So, yeah, absolutely.
It's so interesting to throw that in among this very esoteric spiritual discussion. But it brings
it's important.
It brings it down to earth too, in that it integrates it. It doesn't bring it down, it integrates it with, there are everyday things that we can do to support our energy levels and to support the energy levels of others. And, that's something I want to say. And I want to conclude the discussion part. And I'd love for you to lead us in a 5-minute, some kind of you were saying about breathing and how important that is.
Yeah, sure.
Lead us in something like that as a close. But I forgot what I was going to say completely.
Aww. I've had those moments for sure. There's like too much neuronal firing going on in those moments, right?
Or there's a block, there's a block in the energy. We're talking about how important it is to connect and be down to earth. And I don't know, I guess I wasn't supposed to say it. I'll probably think of it right in the middle of your meditation, which I'll add at the end if it comes back to me. Really, it's completely gone. So
no worries.
Would you lead us in a brief exercise about how to center our energy through breath? And then at the end, I really want you to tell people about how to follow you and so forth, how to contact you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm so honored to be able to hold this space with you right now. And as I mentioned before, I think what will be really useful for people is to learn a variety of different breath techniques right now, because they all serve a very different function, right, in our pulmonary system. Some are, meant to elevate our breath and oxygen levels. Others are meant to decrease those. And it's important to reduce inflammation right now, to just ground and feel centered, but also to come back to one with ourselves within our heart. So if your followers right now would like to just go ahead, just take a moment just to kind of get yourself comfy. If you're sitting in a chair or laying on a bed, all I ask is that your feet do have contact with something. So if there's like, maybe you can touch the chair, or you can, as you're laying down, just bend your knees if you're able to, or put a pillow under so you can feel the bottom of your feet touching something. It keeps us grounded, right? If you're just sitting, go ahead and get yourself comfortable. And what I tell people all the time that's really important, that we often misunderstand in mental well-being, we often inhale out of habit versus learning to exhale first when we're in crisis. And so it's really important that we detox the system before we even begin any breath work. And that just allows whatever excess is there, because if we were to take a breath in that moment, we're actually pulling that stuff further into our system, right? And so like you said, the flow doesn't happen because now we've got stuff being stuck wherever it got pushed into. And it happens. It's, no fault of our own, because breath is involuntary most of the time, isn't it?
Yes.
And so right now, more than anything, we want to really build up our lung capacity, open up our chest as much as we can every single day. You can simply do it just by, remembering to stretch your shoulders open for just a couple seconds. I'm going through physical therapy, and not anymore now, but I was for a shoulder injury. And so whatever your comfort level is, but keep that chest open, because if you are to get anything, and we know it's going to impact our lungs, at least our lungs will have a greater capacity of expansion and coming back, right? And so anything you can do, some yogic poses that allow you to open your heart, just stretching will help as well. So I just wanted to preface that. So everyone, just go ahead and take an exhale first. And really allow that just to come out. Even if it feels a little burdensome at first, it's okay. It's okay on this one, because again, right, we really want to let that stuff out. And then just allow your breath to come back to normal. You don't have to inhale right away. You're naturally doing it without thinking, but just allow it to kind of balance. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to breathe through our mouth with the exclusion of our nose. You are safe. Nothing will happen. You're not going to pass out, I promise. And just allow yourself to relax. And you're going to imagine yourself as though you're drinking out of a straw. When you drink out of a straw, you kind of idea. And those of you who may smoked in the past might be able to use that analogy as well, but we're hoping that we're all not going to be smoking anymore after this pandemic. So I want you to go ahead, and you're going to take in that inhale through your mouth, and you're going to hold it at the top, and I'm going to count to 7. And I want you to envision that energy and oxygen moving all throughout your body, in particular, moving along that chakra system. If your chakras move from top to bottom, bottom to top, wherever it is, it's okay. Okay, so just allow it to flow naturally, and I'll talk you through some more. All right, so let's go ahead and just close our eyes. And let's take in a nice, slow, deep breath in through our mouth. And as you hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just allow it to escape without forcing the exhale. If you need to help it, you can relax your tummy muscles or your chest. But you don't need to force out this air. This allows for the body to cool within. Let's try that again. In through your mouth like you're going through a straw. And hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just allow it to escape Relax your tummy. Again, you don't have to force it out. You'll probably already notice that your mouth or your throat might feel cooler. This next one, as you bring the air in, I want you to visualize the air moving through your heart, through your lungs, in through your belly, and just swirling around like a beautiful spring day. When you see butterflies in the garden, the air just is ever so crisp moving around. Let's go ahead and take in that breath through the mouth. And just watch it moving through your throat, into your chest, enveloping your heart, filling your lungs, and into your belly. And just allow the breath to leave on its own. And just breathe normally. You should notice a cooler sensation in your nose and in your throat. And let's do one more. And hold it, feeling the air filling every bit of our blood vessels, moving throughout our body, feeding those beautiful cells, making them healthy and strong, and just allow your breath to let go on its own. And just let your breath come back to normal. And I always use the mantra, Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hum. Ra, we thank you, God, the beautiful sun that energizes and purifies us. Ma, we thank you for the moon and the beautiful connection to the emotions so that we can balance our feelings and be open and authentic. Da, earth, Mother Earth, we ground, we root with you, we remember our home. And we say Sa twice. First time we say it is watching our energy lift out and up and above ourselves, connecting to the divine. And the second time we say Sa, we call that energy back. Call it back after it's been touched by God, your higher source, whatever you believe in. Say, that is where we recognize the merger, that God is of all and we are of God. So we recognize that we are also God within each of us, and Hum is the ultimate acceptance and knowing of the universe. Anytime you want to work on your breath, at Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hum. We are one with God and the universe. And exhale. Bring yourself back, wiggling your toes, your fingers, slowly and gently. And when you're comfortable, open your eyes. And I always touch my heart and say, welcome home.
Welcome home.
That's how you find peace in a pandemic.
That was really lovely. Thank you so much, Renee.
Thank you.
And on that note, would you please remind us how people can get in touch with you and what you're up to?
Absolutely. My website is transcendentheart.com, and you can reach out to me there, see all of my healing services. Obviously, my live events are on hold right now, but I still do virtual sessions, group sessions, individual sessions, as well as family and parent coaching. And my recent book, The Unbecoming, it actually just had its 1-year anniversary, is available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles if you'd like to read anything. And my courses are on my website as well. And you can see me on Instagram more so than anything at Dr.Renee Mudrey. And my private Facebook group is called A Journey Within. And it's a beautiful place to just come together, as I always say, and lay your head. And last is my podcast, The Inner Revolution, on every platform out there: Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting. And you can check that out now. We're in season 3 and still going really strong. So thank you, dear. Thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for sharing yourself and all of your gifts with us today. You know, it has totally helped me feel even more peaceful and relaxed. I'm like,
thank you.
I have another interview to do in 5 minutes, and I'm like, whoo, out there. So that'll be interesting to see.
Exhale.
Yes. Anyway, thank you so much, Renee, and bless you for everything you're doing and all you're giving to the earth right now. And that's one thing I wanted to say, is the earth is really appreciating this break from all of the industry. And
amen.
Let us feel that healing energy of the earth as we go forth also, and appreciation for all that we have. So love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.